The next tables on the list that the user will have to create are Atlas period years and Atlas period years A, and the actual format of this table is shown in this slide. And the reasons for having these tables into the tool is to split evenly the area that are being disturbed either by the clear cut, thinning, or any other kind of treatment that the user is using in Forest Planning Studio into equal areas throughout the planning period. So the schedule of the harvesting is being set up by the user in Forest Planning Studio, and it can use intervals of 10 or 5 years or 1 year or any other kind of intervals. These two tables are coming as a default in the actual version of the tool, and they are using 5 years intervals from 0 to 30 and 10 years intervals from 40 to 300. And if the user uses the same kind of harvesting schedule, is fine. They don't have to the user doesn't have to change these tables. But if the user uses different kind of intervals, then these tables have to be adjusted. And the format is pretty straightforward. In the period years A, I'm linking the period from the polygon output table from Forest Planning Studio to the actual years. So for period 0 I have 0, period 1 5, period 2 10, and period 10 70 years. In period years, I'm linking these actual years with the annual years. So for year 0 I have 0, for period 5 I have anything from 1 to 5, for period 10 I have anything from 6 to 10, and so on. And I'm also adding another field called the interval, in which I put the actual interval I use. So again, from 0 to 30 in this particular case I use 5 years interval, and after that 10 years intervals. So this is important because, as I said, it is splitting evenly the area being disturbed throughout the planning period. So it's quite important to have this done correctly. So I don't have to go into too much detail on these tables. They are coming built in. So if I just open them up in here, you can see them for, as I said, 300 years for this one, and period years A for 300 years as well. So next is on the list is the polygon table. Let me scroll down here. So the polygon table, that's the user has to export from Forest Planning Studio into the tool. It has to have at least these headings. So period, poly, stand group prior, stand group treated, gross area, productive area, net area reserve, age, and age prior. And actually, let's go into the Forest Planning Studio and make a run and export the table. So for this example, I'm using this database, and I'm just making the run, making sure that the polygon has all the fields selected. So incorporates the minimum fields I was talking about. So click on Start, wait for the simulation to run, go to the folder where the polygon file is being created, open it up with Microsoft Excel, and save it as Excel. And I'll have to go here where my working folder is for this video, and it should be in here, and I'll just call it polygon for this particular example. And all done with this one. I can close the windows I don't use, and I just simply go to the tool and click external data tab and click Excel, browse to the location of the Excel file I just saved, and import it into the tool. These files are quite big, and it might take up to a minute or so. This particular file has over 40,000 records, so it takes about 30 to 40 seconds to complete the import process. So you have to be patient and work along. First row always contains the column headings. This one looks good. No primary keys needed for this table. Click next. And this is really important here, how to name the table. So I've used this label in the queries to link this table to the inventory in CBM CFS3. So it's really important to use the same label, which is Atlas with capital letters _polygon _2, and click finish. And the import process has been finished. I'm going to check here that I have imported correctly. So as you can see, I have over 40,000 records for this particular table. And that would be everything from for tables that need to be imported in here. And we'll just move along to the next slide and run the actual macro. So at this stage, the user should have created the tool with all the tables and all the data that it needs to develop the CBM CFS3 friendly import tables. So just simply double click on the populate CBM import files and wait for the queries to run. You can see the green bar in here, and when you see this message, that means everything is good and you are ready to compress the database and close it up and create the CBM CFS3 projects.